This is part 2 of my series of videos that I'm doing in which I'm advancing this thesis that many, if not most, women today seem to fall somewhere on the continuum of what is called borderline personality disorder. Again, I don't make these assertions to be provocative. I don't make them to be to advance an agenda of any kind. I don't assert these things out of a desire to hurt any feelings or to cause offense to anyone. It's simply what I have observed and what seems to make the most sense. Now, as far as the cause of all of this, that's something that I plan to spend a bit more time ruminating upon. But let's first, before we get to the cause, let's talk about what constitutes borderline personality disorder. Again, I am a skeptic when it comes to syndromes and disorders. I don't know, if this disorder exists in nature, let's just say, but the cluster of symptoms, the cluster of behavioral manifestations or proclivities that make up what they call borderline personality disorder are quite common among the female sex today. From my own observation, from my own experience, from what I have seen, heard, felt, and been privy to. This is not a double-blind experiment. This is anecdotal, very much. Nevertheless, I think it has some validity, and it's up to you to decide whether you think it does or not. So I'm reading right now from a list of so-called symptoms of borderline personality disorder. The first thing that's listed is impulsive and risky behavior, such as having unsafe sex, gambling, or binge eating. This kind of behavior seems to be practically encouraged, culturally speaking. The impulsive sexual behavior is particularly encouraged during college age, right? The programming that we're under right now is that you should experiment during your college years, and for a lot of young women it goes well beyond their college years, and it probably predates their college years for many of them. I don't know so much about the gambling. That doesn't. I guess that's something sometimes you see, but the indulgence in promiscuous sex, that's definitely there. Binge eating is something that's almost a joke. That's like a truism. That's something you see often. If a girl's in not in a good mood, she's eating a container of cookie dough ice cream and watching reruns of The Love Boat. I know these are jokes. I know these are sort of like comedic tropes, but at the same time, they wouldn't exist as comedic tropes if they didn't have some correlate in reality. All right, the next thing that's listed, unstable or fragile self-image. This is something I want to get back to. This insecurity, this fragility of self-image, and I don't mean fragility in any kind of political sense, the way that it's often used. White fragility. I'm talking about these a lot of girls coming up seem to be messed up, seem to have been messed up, and you are or I should say one is inclined to take on certain behaviors if one has been messed up by something, by trauma, by, I don't know, maybe just by being habituated in all the wrong ways. But fragile self-image, something I want to come back to. I'll put that one on the back burner. Unstable and intense relationships. Liking the drama. It's no fun if there's no drama. And we're supposed to think, oh well, this isn't normal, and it's not normal in the sense that I don't think it should be normal, but clearly, there is an aspect to what's going on out there, particularly when it comes to female behavior, that seems to almost lend itself to this whole notion that if there's not some drama, it's boring, right? If there's not an argument, if there's not some strife, then it's just boring, and boring. Boring is the worst thing you could possibly have, I guess. I don't know if stability is boring. I don't know. I really don't think of it that way. Getting along, having harmony, is that boring? Sharing interests, doing things together, having conversations that don't explode into oh, I'm so angry with you because you said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Is that boring? I don't know. I'll move on. Up and down moods, often as a reaction to interpersonal stress. Yes. Well, I mean, we're supposed to just be patient and habituated to the up and down moods thing. We're told it's hormonal, all the things that we hear. And I'm not saying hormones don't have an effect on mood. Obviously they do, but I do think that things are not in a good place right now, and they're not in a good place for men or for women. But in this case, I'm talking about women particularly and especially. Again, the up and down moods. Well, if I was stable, that would be boring. I don't think so, but there you go. Suicidal behavior or threats of self-injury. Now, with the suicidal behavior, it's interesting to note that, twice as many men as women actually do kill themselves, but a much larger number of women attempt suicide and don't succeed, which raises the question: were these real attempts, or were they cases of calling for help, seeking attention, that sort of thing? And I know self-injurious acts, cutting and all of that, I know that that's real, and I know that that's, I mean, I can understand I can understand the inclination to self-harm, from the point of view of self-loathing, but the whole idea that you do it for attention, or that you do it to amp up the drama because you don't want to be stable. That's because stable is boring and all of that. That's a different matter entirely. Intense fear of being alone or abandoned. That's the next thing on the list. Yeah, and I'm going to couple this one with another one. Frequent, intense displays of anger. I've known and I've seen so many relationships in which a woman is uh, doing all kinds of inappropriate things, and like for example, getting into the guy's stuff, reading his email, reading his personal effects, in today's age, stealing his phone, just to see what he's been up to, and violating, his personal space, uh, because they think that either he is cheating, or he is planning on cheating, or he wishes he was cheating. I've seen so many examples of that, so many instances of that, and it's almost always like driven by the female in the relationship. Have there been jealous men? Yes, of course there have. But this whole instance of this whole phenomenon of just like I don't like the way you looked at her. Why were you looking at her? That kind of thing. You were talking to another girl? Oh, well, what, is she prettier than me? Would you rather be with her than with me? And this just comes out of the blue, and it's like it's not normal. Okay? I mean, maybe it is the norm, but it's not normal. This kind of behavior is not normal. And of course, and yes, you're gonna. I'm not excusing or exonerating men. I shouldn't even have to say that by now. But this isn't about the blame game. This isn't. There's plenty of blame to go around. Okay, men do lots of shitty things too, but I think this whole phenomenon of just like how is it listed here? What kind of words do they give it here? Okay, the intense fear of being alone or abandoned. Maybe that is rooted in insecurity. But I mean, you can be insecure and not just become this raging monster who's making your boyfriend or your husband feel awful. Anytime he says hi to another woman or whatever, or anytime if you're watching a movie and do you think she's pretty? Those kinds of questions. No, she's ugly. She's totally ugly. That hot actress, she's completely ugly. So those two things bonded together, or bound together: fear of being alone or abandoned, and frequent intense displays of anger. Stress-related paranoia that comes and goes. I think that's also part of this whole same gestalt of behavior that I'm talking about here. It doesn't just relate to instances of jealousy or of of giving your man the third degree unjustly and making him feel like crap, about other women. but it also manifests itself just anytime you don't say exactly the right thing at exactly the right time, right? You fail to read her mind, and you fail to say, uh, what she's dying to hear you say, and she gets mad at you. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you failed to say exactly what you were supposed to say, or because you said something that wasn't meant as bad in any way, and that was not that was not mean, or it was not insulting, that was not cruel, but she took it that way, and so she makes you feel crappy for being so insensitive as to say something. I mean, it's we're not talking about boneheaded comments that you know right well you ought not to have said, right? There are certain things that obviously you don't say, but we're talking about just saying something that isn't meant bad, but is taken because of her mood, because of how she's feeling, because of her insecurity. It's taken a particular way, and then you bear the brunt of her anger, uh, and she'll even say, yeah, it's just how I'm feeling right now. It's just because of how I was feeling, but still, uh, my feelings are still important. My feelings are still relevant. You should respect them. And there is also just this understanding that, well, I'm unhappy around the house. I'm unhappy with this. I'm unhappy with that. Okay, I'm sorry you're unhappy. Can you tell me what can I do to help? Well, if I have to tell you, then that just defeats the whole purpose. You should know. You should already know. Well, I don't already know. I can't read your mind. Well, you should know. That's all there is to it. You should just know. There's this expectation that if you don't know the right thing to say, if you don't know the right thing to do, if you're wanting to help, if you're wanting to make things better, but you don't, you're really not sure what is being asked of you, then it's sort of it's allowed. The notion is allowed to linger out there that, oh, you're just selfish. If you weren't so selfish, if you weren't so self-centered, you would know. Even though, like, I'm asking, what can I do, right? Oh, well, I'm not gonna. I don't feel like I should have to give you directions. Anyway, you're probably sensing that there's some personal. I'm letting out some personal issues, and I'm sure that's definitely mixed in with all of this. Okay, my own experiences. I don't claim to be immune from this whole subject matter. That's what makes me feel that it's something worth talking about. Because if it was just something that had nothing to do with me, that I had no experience with whatsoever, but just was a phenomenon that I saw, I think I would be much more dispassionate about it. But the relationships that I've been in, I don't choose. I don't think I choose to be with really extreme women who present as really extreme or unstable, or who have this sordid past, and and yet even among these the nice girls that I've been with, still there's this type of behavior that seems to have a lot in common with borderline personality disorder. And I don't think I'm alone in that sense. I don't think this is just, if again, I admitted that this was partly personal, but it's not just personal. It's not just about me. This is something that we see. I mean, there was a joke at the Babylon Bee. There was this article that was pretty funny about the female referee at the Super Bowl, which I'll include a link to it here, where she threw a flag and then she says, "Oh, never mind, it's fine. Just keep playing with your friends. It's fine." And then Tom Brady says, "Wait a minute, you threw a flag. Don't worry about it. It's just fine. If you have to ask, then there's no point in me telling you." And so it's all about just this dysfunctional conversation between this female referee and Tom Brady, who's just wanting her to level with him, and she's just being bitchy and mean and acting like you know and passive aggressive and 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 yet it's like, if you're a certain kind of man, if you're a certain kind of guy, it's hard to just say, okay, fine, whatever, and just walk away from it and just not let this really sink into your skin. Men are very vulnerable. Some men are very vulnerable to this, and when we get told if you were good enough, you would know what to do. You would know what to say. You would not say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And so that is those kinds of experiences are scarring. Okay. And again, I'm not just talking about me, but I am partly talking about me. Okay. For what it is worth. So, let's see if there's anything else on this list of borderline personality disorder. Ongoing feelings of emptiness. Yeah. Unstable or fragile self-image. I mean, I think maybe I'll consider this question next time. It really does make me wonder if there is more widespread abuse than we hear about. Because what causes this kind of extreme neurosis bordering on psychosis among so many normal presenting women today? What happened to them to make them this way? Are they just this way by nature? I know that's what some would say. Or I don't know. I'll consider the whole question of abuse being the progenitor of some of this kind of behavior, because this is really disturbed behavior. This is not normal behavior. This is not. I refuse to believe that this is just female nature. This is. It is. I mean, it's related to female nature, but it's not female nature at its best. I'll say that. And yet it's all over the place today. All over the place. And I have seen it in and known it myself, and I've seen it and known it in others, and hence this entire inquiry. So thanks for watching. Again, not meant to insult, not meant to belittle, not meant to promote any kind of agenda, but I'm sure some feathers might have been ruffled nevertheless. But thanks for watching just the same, whatever you think of what I have presented to you. And I'll talk to y'all soon. My name is Andy Nowicki, and I will continue this this series maybe in 1 or 2 more videos. Thanks for watching. You can check out my work at altrightnovelist.com.